So, before starting today's discussion, I want to put one thing here. In our previous classes, previous discussions, we discussed one thing that there are 9 processes of devotional services. And in that, Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and chanting about Krishna is means these are the main processes and very easy. Anyone can do it very nicely, very easily. So, in today's discussion, in today's class of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhuji was telling very beautiful, amazing thing that whatever services we are doing, that can be any service related to Krishna, service to Krishna. So, the fruit of your service should be your interest in hearing about Krishna. So, one should check this that how much interest of yours have awakened to hear about Krishna. And in that way, you will come to know that how much you have actually progressed in your Krishna consciousness journey, Krishna consciousness life. If you are someone who is so much interested in hearing about Krishna, then you should know that you are progressing very nicely. So, this is actually a real test that if your interest, if your taste in hearing about Krishna is increasing, then you are actually progressing in your spiritual life very nicely. This is the real fruit of your service. Whatever service you are doing for Lord, that can be deity worship, chanting definitely, and hearing for sure. If you're trying to hear attentively, then you will see gradually that stage will come when you will look forward to hear more about Krishna. You will your ears will need constant engagement. Even if you are doing some work, that can be any work, if you're traveling or suppose you are cooking, whatever things you are doing, your ears will be eager to hear about Krishna even at that time. So you will look for an opportunity to hear more about Krishna. This is the real fruit of your service. Very beautiful, isn't it? So yes, this was very beautiful point. Okay, coming back to our discussion now. We were discussing in our previous class that any person who is following Krishna consciousness, if he gets distracted or if he is unsuccessful in his journey, then in his next life, he will begin from the point where he left off. So means there is no chance of any um there is no scope of any discouragement because there is no loss, there is only gain. Very beautiful point. I was explaining this to one devotee yesterday. So he was saying that I was able to he was saying that I tried to serve devotees nicely, but I was not able to serve you nicely. I was only able to do only this much little seva for you. So I was explaining this thing to him that whatever services we are doing, those services are neither small nor big. Why? Because whatever services you are doing for devotees, They are service to Krishna. Those services are services to Krishna. And whatever you do services for Krishna or for the Vaishnava devotees of Krishna, then Krishna blesses with infinite blessings. Means you will get infinite benefit of whatever service you are doing. So, any service, whatever you are doing in service to Krishna or to his devotees, it is neither small nor big because the benefit is always infinite. Devotees often forget this thing. We often hear this thing, but we have tendency of forgetting things. We should not forget this thing. Please note this. Whatever your services you are doing for Krishna in relation to Krishna, you are getting infinite benefit, which you can never get when you are doing any service in this material world. You can never get infinite benefit from any material service or any service to materialistic people. So, yes. However, one should not think that he will do well to wait for the next life to attain Krishna consciousness. Okay, we learned this that there is no loss. We will get opportunity in our next life, but one should not think that okay, then I will wait for next life to attain Krishna consciousness. No, this is not a good idea because we don't know when will that next time will come in our life. When will that next time come in our life? We have no idea about it. We already discussed yesterday from Chaitanya Charitamrit that Lord Chaitanya himself came in this age of Kali to distribute the love, and that to be the most, highest stage of love of the cowherd girls of the gopis to the people, to the jivas of this age of Kali. And we have no idea when will we get this chance again in future, because it is not certain that if we leave our body in this life, then we will get another birth in this planet only. We have no idea where will our karma take us. I mean, definitely the in devotee's life, whatever happens, it is not the reason is not the karmas. But then also future is always uncertain. We have no idea. So best is that we should just put our 100% efforts in this life, and we should try to go back to Godhead in this lifetime only. Our efforts should be in such way. Rest, whatever Krishna is willing. So we should try to fulfill the mission of Krishna consciousness in this life. Krishna promises us that one who becomes his devotee will come to him without fail. And Krishna never promises us, Krishna never make false promises. So there was one person, he said me that I was always looking for someone in my life who may come and who may help me to show me the right path where I may follow spirituality and I may practice spirituality. I was always searching for someone in my life, and finally Krishna has gifted me that person and all those things. And now even he was practicing his spiritual activities, and I don't know he is still practicing it or not, but he disappeared. for no reason. So why I'm telling this thing, that in this material world, you will definitely find people making false promises with you. This is tendency of fallen conditioned soul. There is no control. But Krishna never makes false promises. Dear devotees, please try to understand this. Krishna is Satya Sankalp. Whatever he says, it never goes vain. Whatever Krishna says, it will happen for sure. Srila Prabhupada ji also said one quote on this. What was that? Yes. Whatever Krishna said, that is good, and everything is bad. Bus. Our confusion is finished. So, whatever Krishna says, it is always all good. And everything else which Krishna is not saying, it is all bad. And in Bhagavad Gita also you will see Krishna tells many specific topics that only these things which I have covered, only this is knowledge, else everything is not knowledge. That is all opposite of knowledge. I'm not remembering the word. Opposite of knowledge. Agyan. So, yes, Krishna promises us that one who becomes his devotee will come to him without fail. मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोर्षि मे मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोर्षि मे. Always think of me. And how can we think of Krishna? We discussed this point yesterday. How can you remember Krishna always? When you will hear about him and when you will speak about him, when you will talk about him. In that way only you will be able to remember him. So, see, Krishna is saying this clearly. Always. Always means 24 hours a day. So many time, you will find people saying that God never says that we should only do bhakti. God never say this that we should only practice our devotional services. But Krishna is saying that. Krishna is saying this always. What is the meaning of always? Always means always. 24 hours. So always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. This is what Krishna is saying. So next time, if any person, if he tells you, you can quote him this shloka that see, Krishna is saying always. Do you understand English? What is the meaning of always? Or you can also quote them in Hindi language. If in case they understand Hindi, always means always. So you always remember Krishna. Always think of me. Become my devotee. Become my devotee means you only surrender unto me. So, see, try to understand this thing. Actually, I was also not understanding this thing in the initial days of Krishna consciousness. I was assuming that whatever, we assume that God, I mean, demigods also, people assume that demigods are also God, but those are not gods. God is one. There are not gods. God is only one, that is Krishna. But earlier I was assuming this, that demigods are also God, messengers are also God, everything is God. I mean, it is tendency, specifically in India, there is this confusion that everyone is God. But later, my counselor, she told me that if you are serving Krishna, then there is no need of worshipping demigods. Then I got to know, oh, these are demigods. So she said that you really don't have to do any other worship, or you really don't have to perform any other artik, or whatever occasions come, special comes, occasions comes, you really don't have to do anything. For Vaishnavas, only Ekadashi fast is enough. You don't have to fast on other whatever festivals come. And Krishna only want us, she told me this. She highlighted these lines that Krishna only loves that his devotee should only be surrendered to him. He never wants us that take any we take shelter of any other person. Krishna never wants this. Krishna only wants that we only surrender unto him. Now just contemplate on this. Isn't, I mean, isn't this something touching your heart? I mean, this really touched my heart. Suppose if in this material world you met a person who is very powerful. Powerful means he's wealthy and he's very famous and all those things. And suppose he says that, whatever you need, you just always take my support. Okay? Whatever you need, if you want any help, you always ask me. No need to go any other. No need to go anywhere else. No need to go to any other person. You just stay with me. You be with me. And whatever you need, whatever help you need, you always ask from me. So, will that not touch your heart? See, in reality we were always searching for such shelter only for that person who will say to us, or to me, you may say about yourselves, we were always searching for that person who is very powerful, who is very potent, and who may say these words to us, that you really don't have to go anywhere. You just be dependent on me. You don't have to depend on anyone else. And Krishna is saying this. And Krishna is that person who is all powerful, all potential, all beautiful. He is the most famous person. He's Supreme Personality after all. People in this material world, specifically in this planet, on this planet, they are, because of their dull consciousness or because of their contamination, they are not understanding the glories of the Supreme Personality. But Krishna, he is prominent in the whole universe. So he is the most prominent person. And such supreme, such great personality, he want that we really don't have to go anywhere else. He wants us that we only seek his shelter. We only depend ourselves onto him. Isn't this touching your heart? So this is something amazing. Krishna is saying this, become my devotee. And you really don't have to devote to anyone else, okay? You just become my devotee. Worship me. So yes, you really don't have to worship any other person. You worship me. and offer your homage unto me. Now, this is quite amazing. So, you really don't have to um, offer anything to anyone. You offer everything of yours to me. Are you understanding this point? Just like you will see any mm, lovers, they say that I will give you my heart, you give me your heart. And there is one song also, I don't want to sing that song here, but there is one song I am remembering, that your heart is in my heart is in your heart, which is not possible, but I don't know why people make such songs. But yes, here Krishna is saying this, that you offer your homage unto me. And the result is that you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So, what Krishna is saying, that when you will offer your homage unto me, whatever you have, it definitely belongs to Krishna only. But then also, Krishna is so kind, he's so merciful. He's saying this, that you offer your homage unto me. So, with this, he is making uh, some, what to say, a medium for us. He's making a kind of excuse for us to take us, he wants to take us back to him. So he's making this kind of excuse, that if you will offer, if that person, if any devotee, he will offer his homage unto me, then what will I do? I will take. Krishna thinks like this, that, oh, this person is so nice. He has given everything of whatever he, I mean, whatever he possesses. He gave everything of whatever he is possessing to me. And now I am left with nothing. I don't have anything. I mean, whatever material possessions he wanted, he already have those. So what shall I give him now? I'm left with nothing. So okay, I will give him to myself. I will take back to him, to my abode. So Krishna is like this. Krishna is saying like this, that in result you will come to me without fail. And Krishna is promising this here. So this is something very, very amazing. So Bhagavad Gita 18.65. When we think of coming to Krishna, we should not think that we will be standing before a void or an impersonal bright light. You won't believe this. Few days ago, I was hearing a lecture of Prabhuji's. Prabhuji's lecture I was hearing on YouTube. So in that video, on one side there was the text which Prabhuji shows, and on another side there was, I mean, video was not there of Prabhuji, but there was one screen where it was written that, yeah, this is this shloka, this is from the context is this. Only those things were written on another side, and there was no video of Prabhuji. So I was feeling very impersonal. I was not, uh, I was not liking it. Prabhuji's voice was coming, it was coming, but he was not visible in the camera, in the video, video was not there. So same way you will see in this world also, we don't like this thing. We always want some person, we always want to see a person in front of our eyes who is speaking or whatever things. So same way Srila Prabhupada is explaining here, that when we are thinking of Krishna, when we are thinking that we'll go back to him, then that doesn't mean that we will stand before a void or an impersonal bright light. This is quite frightening, actually. You won't believe this. Like few years ago, I attended one meditation. It is Raj Yoga meditation, if you have heard about it. So in that, those people were explaining all these things only, that you're coming from a light, you have came from a light, and now you need to, when you will be liberating, getting liberate from this world, then you will merge yourself in that light. So when they were showing those diagrams of, light, and every person, all the people, they are meditating on the light, and they say like this, you try to meditate on the light. So, I mean, that time I was not aware of all those things, that what is this impersonalist and all those people. So, but that time also I was observing that it was very difficult for me. I was feeling some emptiness. Even though I was meditating on those lights or whatever things, but I was experiencing some emptiness. There was not any joy or satisfaction. Are you able to relate with what I'm saying here? I was feeling some emptiness in my heart, and there was not any joy or satisfaction. But later, like, I was hearing classes of Prabhuji. So Prabhuji was explaining about this. Then I came to know, oh, okay. So these are those people. And devotees, they really have to save themselves from such people. See, it is very, very important. And that's why I put this point here. Because I know when Mataji, she's still chanting, and she was also hearing the classes, and she was really relishing it. But now she has also joined this same meditation. And that's why now, I mean, I'm observing this thing. She was saying that now my life has become more blissful and all those things. But her inclination for hearing about Krishna has decreased. So if your life has become really blissful, then what should be the fruit of your whatever things or services you are doing? If you are really practicing something spiritual, or if you are really practicing something which is pleasing to Krishna, if we are meditating on light, and we are not like, except meditating on the beautiful form of Krishna, if we are meditating on light, then it is really not pleasing to Krishna, because we have been given these senses so that we may engage our senses in service to Lord. So it is really not pleasing to Krishna if we are meditating on any light or whatever things, or any whatever thing. So yes, but I was observing that she was not inclined towards hearing about Krishna. If you are practicing something which is really pleasing to Krishna, then what should be the fruit? Fruit will be that your inclination towards hearing about Krishna will increase. You will incline more and more to hear about Krishna. But if it's not happening with you, then you really need to improve. You're really committing mistakes. Krishna, God is a person, but person means he is not a human being. This is very important. Person means he is a person like we are persons. But he is not an ordinary person, and he is not an extraordinary person as well. He is transcendental and he is supreme personality. You should know why I'm quoting this specifically. Because I met some a person, he was assuming Krishna as a human being. That because he did some good karmas or some, very good deeds. So that's why people, he gave him this designation of God. But he's not understanding that we cannot become God. God is always God. Anyways, his motive was like why he was practicing all these spiritual activities so that he can become a god someday, which is not possible. I mean, it's not possible. Once one person asked Srila Prabhupada that will Krishna help me to achieve my goal? So Srila Prabhupada says, well, it depends. If you want to become servant of Krishna, which you are already, then Krishna will definitely help you. But if you want to become a god, then why will Krishna encourage a competition? And anyways, it's not possible for anyone to become god. It is not possible. So yes, Krishna is God and Krishna is also a person, but he is transcendental. He is supreme personality. Person means he is not impersonal, he is simply not a bright light. I don't know, I mean, how people get convinced with all these foolish things. One lady, she was also telling me that, you know what, I don't know what she said, I am a Channel or Chanel, I don't know what she said. And she was saying that I connect with gods and I talk with them. So, out of curiosity, I asked her, so do you also talk with Krishna? How do you talk with Krishna? And she said, yes, I talk with Krishna. Yes, yes, I talk with him. So I, like, out of curiosity, I asked her that how does Krishna look? So she said, Krishna is a blue light. And I immediately got furious the moment she said such words to me. I immediately said her, I typed it out to her that light is, I mean, that light has actually dimmed your intelligence. And I immediately removed her. So you see how people, they are actually committing offenses unconsciously. And any person who has such beliefs that that God is a light or he is formless or whatever things, if he is a human being, then he has actually committed very, like, a very, what to say, he has committed so many sins in his past life. That's why he or she has such consciousness that he is not able to understand God, that God is all attractive. He is not formless or simply a light or not a human being. But people, they just don't understand this thing, and this is because of their past karmas, which is a misfortune. Okay, we had an amazing discussion today, and we will stop our discussion here now. We'll continue it tomorrow if Krishna desires. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.